Troops and troopettes, what is happening? Hope you're all having a good week. It's Richard here again with a new Dragon's Den video. So from what you've probably seen in my other Dragon's Den videos, I generally go for the funnier ones that have ended up like totally fucked up and ending in arguments and all that kind of stuff. But today we're going to cover one of the biggest, actually the biggest success story in Dragon's Den history. This pitch is from Mr. Levi Roots, who you'll find out his real name is actually Keith, and he was pitching his product Reggae Sauce. You might think, you know, it's the most successful product to ever leave the den and get investment, and it's massive now, you see it in all supermarkets, so it must have been an amazing, perfect pitch. Well, not exactly. There was a few hurdles that Levi had to get over, which we'll watch today. Right, let's get into it. Right, okay.
In my food for me, and give me some reggae sauce. At reggae sauce. It's so nice, I had to name it.
You know, Dragon's Den pitches,
I called it reggae,
the start of music, have a pretty high success rate.
Reggae sauce. Put some reggae sauce on your list.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good start.
My name is Levi Roots. I'm looking for 50,000 for 20% in my reggae sauce.
Small investment.
I've been in the music business for over 30 years. I'm a producer, a singer, a songwriter, and a chef. For 15 of those 30 years, I've been doing the Notting Hill Carnival, supplying most of the stalls with my secret recipe sauce I entitled Reggae Sauce.
So you can already tell this guy has a great energy, right? He's got a fantastic energy. The Dragons are already intrigued, they're already, you know, focusing on him because he's came in with that music and stuff. And, you know, he's listening to his experience here. He's clearly not got a huge amount of business acumen, or else he would have, you know, mentioned it when he was talking there. But he's shown that he's an expert and a professional at something. Yes, it's music, doesn't mean that it's going to translate directly to business, but it shows that he's an extremely skilled individual at something, which is always a bonus.
So without further ado, I like this. Let you have a look. Right, the sauce. What is the sauce?
The bottles look so different now. So different.
Barbecue sauce. It replaces the typical tomato ketchup or your hot pepper sauce. Tomato ketchup is boring. No flavors, just tomato. Hot pepper sauce is hot. No flavors.
Yes, tomato ketchup is boring, but it's still the nation's favourite condiment. So I think he needs to put a little bit more respect on that. But obviously he makes his own product, so he's going to be biased for that, which is totally fine.
Ruins your food.
Hot pepper sauce, I agree.
Sauce,
too hot.
It retains the flavours of the garlic, the peppers, the coriander, the scallion, and all the herbs and spices which we put in. I've got a very nice order from a meat company in Yorkshire for, wait for it, 2.5 million litres of reggae sauce as their first.
2.5 million litres, right? So when you think about that, think about the cheapest you can get a litre of water for. Seen in the shops, it's 50 pence. If someone wanted 2.5 million of those, still, it's a massive quantity. Which one brings a question up. If he's got that order there, why is he only asking for 50 grand for 20%? Because there's orders in principle there that are much exceed that value. And two, why have we not heard of reggae sauce at this point? Surely if a big meat producer, whoever it is, was willing to put in an order for 2.5 million litres of a sauce, I don't think the Notting Hill Carnival for 10 years providing it to vendors there is really market research enough to say that there's demand for, you know, 2.5 million litres, but let's see.
Orders. We've had just like a shook hands on a deal. I've had a nice letter.
Theo looks confused.
Now, all we have
so he's got the letter
just
with
try
him,
and get production up to standard. Any questions, please?
So, you know what? Good pitch, not too much info, not a crazy life story, sob story thing. told them who he is, what he does, what his product is, why it's better in his opinion to other competitors, and an order, or a potential order there that might pique the Dragon's interest. I think it's a good pitch.
What a great name. Is it your real name?
No, it's my pseudonym. My real name is Keith. No, I don't see me in 30 years in
Keith. Nobody gets called Keith anymore. I don't think there's been a child named Keith in the last 15 years.
You should have lied to him and said, yeah.
But you know, not if my mother calls me Keith, right? She calls me Levi. I've been knowing that ever since then.
Oh dear.
Look at how the Dragon, like none of the Dragons to that point had asked a business question or really even got to speak minus Theo there, right? And they're all smiling, they're all interacting, they're all enjoying being in that guy's presence. He's clearly got them interested, and it's going to be a lot easier to feed them information on the product.
You mentioned a letter you had.
So Duncan wants to look at the...
2.5 million litres.
Yeah.
So have you got the letter with you?
I have indeed.
Well, would you post that to Theo and let him read it? Well, ask you a few more questions.
Theo's going to read the letter. Duncan's going to ask
Theo
some
must
more
be this handsome guy right in front of me here.
Sold. I like you already. Been selling this for 15 years
Yes.
at the carnival.
Not in the carnival, yes.
So how many bottles did you sell last year?
2,500.
2,500 bottles at the carnival.
That's good.
And
See, for a
approximately how much per
carnival?
bottle?
149.
So about £4,000 turnover or something.
See, for a carnival stand,
32 pence
that's
to make
pretty
each
cool,
bottle
I
of
think.
this size.
That's
Where do you
pretty
make it? How
decent.
do you make it? Do you make it in your kitchen or
Yes,
a
at the
plant, or-
moment I make it at home in my kitchen, and my children help me, and we just sort of do it as a family there. It's a very small kitchen. We can't do a very large amount at the moment.
Can you legally make things like that in your kitchen and go out and sell them nationwide?
Absolutely, because we've had a letter and a confirmation from the food standard, which was one of the first things that I did.
That's amazing, right? This is one thing I always say to home-based business owners. Now, it's different if you're like a graphic designer or you're working from home on Zoom calls constantly, but if you're making a product at home, whether it's wax melts, a food thing, like desserts, cake, like whatever it is, you need to have, if you want it to be scalable, and in this case Levi clearly does because he's on Dragon's Den, if you want it to be scalable, you need to either one, have your premises appropriately kept to standard and certified that it's kept at that standard, or you need to move and get an actual commercial premises. So it's very good of Levi that he's went and got that sorted straight away.
Have you spoken to anybody about what it takes to produce the kind of volumes that are going to be needed?
Good question from
fulfill this?
Deborah.
And what do you
Really
need
good
to
question.
do?
What I need to do is to rent a place. I mean, I won't buy or anything like that. I will just rent a premises. And I think the equipment will cost me about 25,000 for all equipment.
Now, 25,000 for all equipment. I am not a food entrepreneur. I don't really know a huge amount about that stuff. But when I think about that, like going into a unit, unless it's a purpose-built unit already, I think 25 grand to get a unit, the deposits required, the certification he needs, the assets, the original, the stock for the start. I don't think that sounds like enough money, but I can't say for a fact. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Levi's still sounding confident, but his ambitious plans mean transforming a cottage industry into a mass production line virtually overnight.
See, this is what I'm saying, going from kitchen to 2.5 million, it doesn't really make sense. 2.5 million litres.
I might have misunderstood you slightly, because I thought you said that you had an order for 2.5 million litres. That's not what this letter says. This letter says if they were to try and market your product, and if it was as successful as some of the other lines that are in national retailers, that's the sort of level that they would have to produce to make it happen. Is that your understanding?
No. Basically what he's saying to me is, look, we're ready to make an order. As long as you can supply us with this is what we will do.
Right.
So from there, this is a bit of an issue, obviously, because he said he's had an order. Now, I guess it's like an easy mistake to make, but an order, especially when you're dealing with investors, that means you have an invoice or something there that is signed off saying in plain English, we are buying this amount of units and we are paying on these terms and this is what we want, sign it to say yes, and that's it, right? And that's not what this has been. Levi has maybe interpreted it, or the person he's spoken to has said something differently, but the Dragons need to deal with, like, they can only deal with what they're shown on the day. They can't fucking magic back in time and see what the guy said. So a bit of a slip up here from Levi, and the first
with him alone,
of a few.
He thinks that that will create about 390,000 packs,
Yeah.
which will retail at about 1.7 million. So 5% of that is 85.
85.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be
To sing a song.
that would be your royalty,
Yes.
roughly.
Roughly, yeah.
That'll be, and then you're going to be selling these guys at £6.50 a litre.
Per litre, yeah.
What's that in real money?
I think it's 16 million something. 16 and a half million.
So basically what he's saying there, based on the amount of litres they want and what he's charging per litre, he's going to turn over from that deal alone around about £16 million. Obviously he needs to take his costs off that and fucking getting it delivered and all that kind of stuff, but 16 million from 4 grand at Notting Hill Carnival to 16 million, pretty much like that, doesn't really, it would be a cause for concern for me for sure.
Although Levi's letter is not a firm order, he's still maintaining this potential deal could generate £16 million, a huge turnover for such a small business. But Richard Farley thinks he's spotted a fundamental flaw in Levi's calculations.
Levi, can I just want to, it's something I don't understand. You've got an order for 2,500 kilos. Is that the one you're saying is 2.5 million litres?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's right.
Not 2,500. 250,000, isn't it?
2,500 kilos, does that equal 2.5 million
It's a
litres?
lot less than you think it is.
No.
It is?
2,500. The order is for
2,500 kilos.
So he's just went there from 2.5 million litres. Like, Richard Farley explains it in a second, like litres and kilos, but he's just went from that, then going, no, 250,000, then 2,500. It's not like someone's missed 1 0. There's been a few zeros here misinterpreted.
Well, a kilo is about the same as a litre. If it's water, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it's not 2.5 million litres. If you've got 2,500 kilos, it's 2,500 litres.
Okay.
And then it
Chuck
says
that come to
2.5
That's 2,500 litres. So he's went from 2.5 million litres to not 250,000, not to 25,000, but to 2,500. That is just, so he's actually at 0.1% what he thought it was. 250,000 would have been 10% of what he originally thought it was. 25 would have been 1%. This is now 0.1%. Not good. I personally, honestly, if I was, I can't remember watching this on TV. If I was watching that just now and it was a live episode, I'd be like, he's done. He's fucked. There's no way he can pull this back.
initial requirement and then a potential every week thereafter of 500 kilos per week.
It's about 25,000 a year. And you're getting £6 per...
£6.50 per litre.
Now what you also need to think is, Levi's sweating here, but also imagine how he must feel, right? He's probably thought, I've got a fucking massive order worth millions coming in. This is going to be unreal. He's talking to his wife about it. I don't even know if he has a wife. He's talking to his wife about it and his mates, and he probably feels on top of the world. And now, in the most nerve-wracking pitch of his life, even if everything goes right, he's just been told that all that he thought he was basing his business on is not quite as it seems.
So it's about £130,000 worth per order, per year. It's not 16 million.
Richard Farley
130,000
has
worth a year,
exposed a
not
disastrous
60 million.
miscalculation by Levi.
As you can see,
Potential
Duncan
royalties
is not
aside,
happy.
Manufacturing the sauce himself would make him £130,000, but not £16 million. Duncan Bannatyne has heard enough.
Levi, there's no business in this. So I'm going to let you know what I am, and I'm not going to invest. So I wish you the best of luck, but I'm out.
And I would have said Duncan is a smart person for doing that. And I think 9 times out of 10, if this happened in a pitch, it would be past the point of return. So, aye, it's a hard one to judge knowing how successful it is now.
Okay, let me tell you where I am. I think you've got a great business, but it's for you, and you will do well out of it. It's not going to be on a big enough scale for me. So thanks for bringing it here, but I'm out.
Deborah as well.
Levi, let me come in here. That letter's not an order.
It's not an order.
And it's a hugely complex, difficult business to get into major supermarkets. In fact, I'd go as far as to say you've got pretty well very little hope. If, on the other hand, that letter becomes reality, the royalties alone on one line they're offering you is approximately £80,000. Then on top of that, you'll then receive your money for supplying the sauce. So at that stage, you actually don't need any help from anybody here.
Very fair points from Theo. Very fair points. He's actually almost kind of doing the guy a favour in a way, or at least in his eyes, probably.
Levi is staring disaster in the face. With 3 dragons out in quick succession, his chances of securing the £50,000 investment are fading fast.
He's
Only Peter Jones and Richard Farley now stand between him and expulsion from the den.
It's a little bit confusing because, I mean, you're a fantastic guy, you're a lot of fun, right? But
I always get that.
I mean, that's completely irrelevant, really, because in terms of you managing a business, I'd be a bit nervous because, as I discovered, you're not doing 2.5 million litres, you're doing 2,500 litres. And I noticed you didn't sort of say, well, in that case, I'll only need a small room or less money.
Richard makes a great point there. Like, Levi never changed his ask, although, like I said at the start, it was quite small anyway, and it didn't make sense that if he was producing in that quantity, would be asking for such little money. But Richard Farley makes a great point there. It would be terrifying at this stage, leaving Levi in control of that business.
Absolutely, I would say that, yeah.
So I'm just sort of sitting here thinking, do I want to take a gamble, you know?
Can I just cut in to give Richard a bit of time to think about whether he wants to gamble or whether to think about it? Because I know where I'm going with it, and I just want to be clear where I am.
Okay.
So you've got no illusions going forward. I think that trying to get into this market, we know how competitive it is. It's seriously, seriously competitive.
Thousands
trying to
of
range one
sauces.
product is kind of almost impossible. So to let you know where I am, I like impossible challenges.
Good.
And I've been sitting here for 10 minutes. I can't believe this is the first time ever I've actually started to sweat. And I don't know whether it's the sauce that I've just
Join the
taken,
club.
or actually whether it's what I'm about to say. It is a complete punt, but I kind of probably would enjoy it. I've got a few people in the marketplace that I could introduce you to, but I'd want a little bit more of a slice, but I wouldn't want to take too much away from you because I think you need to earn a living. But I would offer you half the money for 20%.
I think that's a fair offer. Honestly, I think it's a fair offer, especially seeing what has just happened in this pitch. To me, it is when it has died, right? And he's managed to get an offer like that, even for half the money, for 20%. Well, something that I've always heard said to me from, like, you know, people that are mentors to me and advisors, is that when you're dealing with large investors, these ones that can really make stuff happen, imagine your business like a grape. Would you rather have all of a grape or, you know, half of a watermelon if you were really hungry? And that's kind of how I would feel if I was Levi in this situation, thinking about having Peter Jones on board. And really, Peter Jones or Duncan are my 2 favourite dragons, so it'd be hard for me personally to say no if I was there.
It's an extraordinary twist. Peter Jones has stepped in and offered Levi half of the £50,000 he needs, but he's demanding the whole 20% equity stake in return. Under the rules of the den, Levi must secure all the money he's asking for, or he leaves empty-handed. His fate now rests with Richard Farley.
Is that an interesting
Let's see what
offer?
Richard's going to say.
I mean, it just-
Good name. Is that an interesting offer? It's the only one.
If this works,
That's
it's great.
amazing.
If it doesn't matter how many other sources you've got. Well, so we're talking about 25,000 for 20%. So no, I think that's a fair. That's not. It is a gamble. It is a punt. I'd match that 25,000 for another 20%. So you'd be talking 50,000 for 40%, leaving you 60.
Fair offer. Fair offer. You know what? I actually think that that overvalues the company. Honestly, I do. Like, when you base it on what he said at the start, 2.5 million, it never made sense from the first bit. When you think about the sales he's done and the Notting Hill Carnival and all that, they've actually valued this company pretty high. So I would be ecstatic with that offer personally.
But I must admit, I have learned a few things here, you know, from you guys. Obviously, I'm always up for learning, and I think that deal, it's not ideal for me, but at the same time, I think this is going to be fantastic for this for the sauce. So I would accept it gladly.
Now, you can hear the emotion there in his voice. Yeah, it's not the best deal ever. He came in wanting that amount of money for half of what he's given away, but he knows that he was at the point nearly of no return there. Like, most people in that situation would have wanted to disappear into thin air.
Potential business
Give my
partners.
food for
Now he really
me.
has got something to
Give
sing
some
about.
Reggae sauce.
Music in the food for
This guy's just a
me.
pure,
And give me some
joyous
reggae
entertainer.
sauce. Hot reggae sauce. It's a
We've completed watching Mr. Levi Roots' Reggae Sauce pitch on Dragon's Den. To give you some cool news about Levi Roots is that as of 2020, his net worth was listed at £45 million. So from, you know, being in the den there, being a musician, obviously loving what he does, and I am sure, obviously I don't know the guy, I'm sure he's still doing music, he's passionate about it. But when I think about him then, his business acumen or lack thereof, he's a musician, he does the Notting Hill Carnival, he sells a few £1,000s worth every year, he makes it in his kitchen with his kids, to now being worth £45 million. Great business, the best success story in Dragon's Den, a sauce that, you know, I personally do enjoy. I can't think of any other Dragon's Den product that I've ever actually used. Minus the Tango teaser, but that never got invested in. It's probably one of the biggest missed deals actually. So yeah, what an incredible story for that guy. Levi, if you're watching this, well done. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. This is a bit more of a feel-good Dragon's Den video, getting to see a real success story that came out of the show, of which there are many, so I might actually look into covering a few more of those in the future. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like down below or a comment. If you have any feedback or you dislike the video, feel free to let me know also. As always, my website is in the bio, www.richarddixon.com, where you can find out more about me and the services I provide and how I can help your business. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you all next week with a new video. Peace.